I trade spot and futures on BYDFi, and if you want to set up an account now, send me a message once you've created your account with your username and UID on Telegram, and I'll put you into a randomly selected prize draw. I've got $10, $20 and $50 gift cards to give out, which basically go against your trading fees, giving you free trading fees basically until the gift cards run out. BYDFi. Hello everybody, welcome back. What's happening? I'm back at my computer, I can tell you that much, so we might be able to get a bit better production value than it has been over this Christmas, which is fine. Is it good, is it bad? Let's start with Bitcoin, we'll work it out. So at the moment, based on the 4 hourly, we're pulling down to this 200 exponential, so that's a decent risk to reward area for a futures position, a long position. I'll be taking that one there. And the reason for it is that we haven't touched that in a long time. Not since we were back down here at around about 27,000 when we finally reclaimed it and basically managed to move all the way up. We have had a little tick down on it with a relatively decent reaction, but it was sold straight off. So fair enough, it's no big deal. So for Captain Noobmaster out there who obviously watches these videos and criticises regardless of what I say, I'm going to tell you now that this is the area to take a long position from with a tight stop loss, because if it does break down from here, this would be a failed trade, which means that risk management comes in as an absolute must, as it should do on all trades. But when we're looking at this at 8 minutes past 9 in the morning, and Captain Noobmaster is looking for a definitive destination for Bitcoin, yeah, at the moment this is where a bounce could take place. But the bounce is probably only going to take us to, what, 42,005 or 600. So that's your Bollinger Band on the 4 hourly. Wrong button. It's also the Bollinger Band on the daily as well. So a resistance, a bounce here for a move up to around 42,600 or thereabouts is probably the best you can ask as far as a trade is concerned. Obviously everybody wants it to break through, but a resistance is a resistance, just as a support is a support. And at the moment there's your resistance, at the moment there's your support. So support, take the position, resistance, exit the position. If we break the resistance, obviously that would be great, because resistances do break, as do supports. There's no definitive answers to the future here. There's only statistics and analysis and probability. And at the moment, the probability is a bounce from here is more likely, and a resistance from here, a rejection, is more likely. So there you go, that's your Bitcoin. There's a short signal that's generated as well, probably about 24 hours ago, at 42,360. And that short signal will take us down to the next major area of support on the particular time frame, being the 4 hourly, which is basically here. It's not a very big move actually, to be fair, but it happened. Now if we do creep down a little lower, 41,000 flat, and these wicks, they all got picked up above 40,000. So I still think that at the moment we are still looking at a decent chance of a bounce around here. But if we take it to the daily, it's a slightly different story. Not the 3-day, but the daily we'll start with here. The daily is below all major moving averages. It's only the 50 exponential which is below us here, which is again 40,300, more or less with these wicks. Below that though, we are talking 38,000, maybe even all the way down to 3350. But we can't talk about those yet because we haven't broken the supports. It would be as crazy to talk about these areas as supports that are going to get hit soon as it would be to talk about new all-time highs getting hit soon. We talk about invalidation and validation of any trade, and at the moment a bounce on the 4 hourly is the most likely scenario. And until we see closures below that, then it's a valid trade. It's a valid trade. It'll be invalidated if we close below there, Mr. Noobmaster. Right. I know that you're tuning in to find out what's actually going to happen. Like our Mystic Meg from the olden days is going to tell you what the lottery ticket is going to be this week. But it's not the case. That's not how it is. Probabilities, statistics, likelihood. So let's have a look to Ethereum then, shall we? Ethereum on the daily. Actually quite good, better than Bitcoin. It's been a while since we've had an Ethereum with a better chart than Bitcoin, and this is actually pretty sweet, because what we really want to start to see now is Ethereum outperform Bitcoin. So we've got ourselves above a Bollinger Band, we've got ourselves above a 20 exponential resistance support take place on it yesterday, and we might even be seeing that again today, which is 2,260. Excelente. So let's have a look at the 4 hourly, what's going on in the 4 hourly. So we've lost the Bollinger Band center, and 200 exponentials down here, 2,210. 2,228, and basically it's a series of higher highs, higher lows throughout. What's the momentum look like? Turning down, consolidating, no big deal. So we're still looking for all of the Ethereum and altcoins to find more continued strength, to be honest. That's what this chart represents. The ongoing battle for altcoins to keep outperforming Bitcoin. And at this moment in time, it looks like it probably will. Bitcoin is now pulling back, sort of losing areas, whereas Ethereum is actually holding areas and moving forward. So we were speculating, weren't we, about how alts would perform if Bitcoin loses certain areas, and I said, look, there is a chance. It was like a 33% chance that Bitcoin will go sideways or even consolidate, while altcoins move onwards and up. That was like 33%. So it wasn't the most likely scenario, but it was out there. It was on the table. It kind of feels like it's actually still a 50-50 at this point, because we're seeing the early stages of that kind of behavior. I wouldn't write it off. I think that's becoming more plausible because we're seeing that kind of behavior. But to expect it to be the most likely is still not great, but the odds are probably at this stage now better than 33%, probably along the lines of 50%, so it's increasing in its likelihood that we will continue with this alt season, even if Bitcoin does start to pull back slowly and creep down, just like in the early portion of 2021. That kind of behavior, not those kind of gains. I keep trying to sort of stress that fact. We're not looking for billions of percent, we're looking for the same kind of behavior that took place around then. And if that is the case, then it would also spell to me that this money that's made from alts will end up back in Bitcoin, and then Bitcoin will run, and then Bitcoin will pop, and then all market will drop. So that's probably the way it's going to go, I reckon. But for the moment, we're still on borrowed time for altcoins, and structurally, the chart on the daily and the 4-hourly for Ethereum is better than Bitcoin's. So with that, we should expect altcoins as a whole generally to continue to move. I don't know, I've got XDC up here. don't judge me. Let's have a look at the Ethereum to Bitcoin pair, and then we'll leave it there. So Ethereum, Bitcoin, any good signs on this? Because it was only a few days ago when I was saying, I think Ethereum's looking like it wants to break out. Captain Noobmaster instantly commented, "What are you talking about? It's like it's never going to break out." And then, like, literally within a 24 or 48 hour period, it broke out. Noobmaster went very quiet. So what I'm trying to say is that charts are speaking at the moment, and we have had that bullish divergence play out, so we've still got a little further to run on this one based on the daily to hit major resistance, basically a death cross retest, and that would give us an area of 0.05828 sats. So if we were to measure that, just thinking about what that move would look and feel like, that'd be a 6 towards between a 6 and an 8% move now on Ethereum Bitcoin pair. So that means that we're still looking for further upside on Ethereum here, even if it is a bearish death cross retest on its sats. We all want resistances to break, but until they do, they're resistances. So expect a rejection around there, but it still measures us between a 6 to an 8% move, which is still actually quite good, right? Still good. So alts still buy the dip based on what I'm talking about with Ethereum here. And if for whatever reason we do break out from this area, then yeah, we'll really power on and start to see some much bigger gains. This area being the next one on the chart, which is a move of around 18%, which feels about right to me. That does feel about right, about 1850 for the next major resistance, because the total 2 is more or less wanting to do a 20% move, and if we were to make a 20% move from where we are right now on Ethereum, it takes us to areas of roughly around 2,700. And I'm feeling that Ethereum is going to peak this time round, as in like before it makes any sort of another major rally between 2,800 and 3,000. That's what I'm thinking. So actually, that all does make a lot of sense. It might not happen immediately, but it does make sense that that's what's going to happen. So I wouldn't be afraid of the alts right now. In fact, Ethereum is brewing a trend signal here on the weekly, which could be pretty sweet. Bitcoin's already got one of those, by the way. And this trend signal would be valid if we close, so long as we close above 1,950. So yeah, look, there's evidence out here. I'm telling you now, there is evidence here to suggest that altcoins will have a prolonged rally. Is it the most likely scenario? Do we have big chaotic dumps in between all this? I'm pretty sure we will. But it's not over, and if anything, what we're starting to see is signs of, at least over the next few weeks, further upside. And for Ethereum, potentially a longer trend that could actually remain above 1900. Maybe even for the most part of this year. Maybe we've already set the low. Maybe this is it. It can dip down lower towards 1600 over the coming months and still maintain the trend signal. But yeah, I'm just putting it out to you now that it does look quite good. Right, I'll leave with you there because it is pretty speculative. I can appreciate that. But, if there's a gun to my head and people are asking me what do I really think, I think the market's got further, to go up. And what we're really starting to see now is the formation of a higher low on obviously Bitcoin and Ethereum, most importantly Ethereum. And so long as we can maintain areas for Ethereum above 21,500, no, 2,150, sorry, we're okay. And really, I want to see Bitcoin hold above 41,000. And that's basically it in summary. Right, thanks for watching, guys. Hope you have a nice day. Take it easy.